In this video, we'll talk about how we can perform software testing by using Jira tool, which is basically a manual testing tool. So without any delay, let's get started with the video now. So first of all, we'll visit to the browser and search for Jira tool. So here you can see that you will get multiple sites, out of which we'll select the first one since we want to work on Cloud Jira. So we'll open it. Okay, so it loaded the site. And here you have to select with which type of account you want to continue. Okay, so it is showing us to select either of the option, that is we can continue with Google or we can sign up with email. So I'll select the first one to continue with Google. Here you can select the Gmail account with which you want to create your Jira software project. Okay, so when you will get it loaded, you will be able to see a screen which is showing you the welcome message. In case if you are using it for the first time, you will need to create an account and then only you will be redirected to this screen. Since I'm already having an account on this site, so that's why I have directly got redirected here to create the site over here. Now I'll just provide the site name. So it should be unique. It should not be existing by any other person. So it automatically checks it. Alright, so this site name was not available. We can click on agree and continue. It will take some time to start the site. Okay, once the site gets loaded, you'll be able to redirect to the screen. Here you have to answer some questions which are asked by Jira tool. If you want, you can give the answers. Otherwise, you can skip those options as well. So I'll skip it. And here it is showing three options to select the project template. The first one is Kanban. It is basically used to visualize and advance the project forward using issues on a powerful board. Second option here, which is available, named as Scrum. So it basically sprints towards the project goals with a board, backlog and roadmap. And the third one is bug tracking. So I'll select the second option, that is Scrum. And this is the project template for Scrum creation. Now note that there are some issue types listed here. The first one is epic, then stories are there, then bugs, tasks and subtasks. So in short, we can say that in Jira tool, every kind of component is going to be called as an issue. But that doesn't mean that it's a problem. So we can use this template now. So we'll click on it. Now this screen will allow you to select the type of project on which you want to work. So we have two options. First one is to create a team managed project. And the second option is to create the company managed project. So here we'll look for team managed project only, since we are just looking it for a demo. So I'll select it. And this screen is giving us the option to provide the project details. Now from here, you have to decide the name of project on which you want to work. Suppose if you already have created some test cases inside the Excel sheet, so I'll just show it to you. So consider this Excel sheet wherein I have listed the test cases and test scenarios on Gmail login. So that will be my project and I want to execute this project in Jira tool. So I'll give some meaningful name to this project inside the Jira tool as well. That is Gmail_project_demo. Now note here that automatically the key option comes on the basis of the name of project. So our project name is Gmail_project_demo. So it took the initials of that and this will be the key which will be acting as a prefix for every type of issue you will create. Now this prefix is associated with the ID which will be given to every type of issue. It may be epic, it may be bug, it may be a user story or the other issues which are there, which are supportable in this tool. So we given the project details now. After that, we can continue to create the project. So I'll just click on it. Now you can note that it has asked some options or tools to be selected. If you want to collaborate with the other tools, for example, GitHub is there, Google Sheets are there, GitLab is there. So you can select any of the tools with which you want to work along with the Jira tool software project. Right now, I don't want to select any tool. So I can just click on skip option and you will be redirected to this screen where you can invite your teammates. And that's the main feature of Jira tool. That is, it gives us the privilege to work with multiple people at the same time. Okay, so you can invite the teammates on the same project to work with. But here you will be the administrator, or we would call as Jira administrator or Scrum Master. And the other people to whom we will give the invitation will act as a teammate only. So right now I'll continue since I don't want to give the invitation to any other teammate. Okay, so you will get redirected to the screen now. And here you can create the different kinds of issues that we have already seen in the previous slide. That is, it can be an epic, it can be bug, it can be user stories, it can be tasks, or it can be subtasks. So what is an epic now? If I say that we have to create an epic, so you can relate that epic with the name of a book. Suppose if you are working on a book creation, book writing, so you can consider that the epic is nothing but your book name and the user stories are nothing but the chapters you are going to write in that book. And we are simultaneously going to see all these examples along with the test cases which I have already mentioned in the Excel sheet. Okay, so you'll get more understanding how the epics and the user stories will get created. Now the user stories will be acting as the test case scenarios which are already present in the Excel. But before creating that, we have to create the epic by clicking on this create button. So I'll just click on it. Here you have to select the type of issue. So as I've told you that we'll first create an epic. So I'll select that. And here it is showing us the option to provide the summary, which is mandatory. So now in the summary, you can write the name of epic. Okay, so we are eventually writing the book name. You need to relate it for better understanding. So I am giving the name inside the summary as verifying Gmail functionalities. Now we'll just scroll it down and see the rest of the options available. So there is an option Assignee. It means to whom you want to assign this issue so that the person which has already assigned will work on that issue. So I'm the only one which is working on that project. So I have assigned it to me only. Second option is to select the labels. So we do not have the labels yet. Okay, so that much settings are enough and this is the start date and due date. That means we can decide that up to which span of time you want to complete this issue or solve this issue. Fine, so the rest of the settings are not needed to be modified. We can click on create. Okay, so the epic have got created, but you can note that the epic is not yet shown inside this backlog screen. See, this is a message which we have got. And here you can note that it is having the ID as GPD-1. And that I've already told you the reason, since the key automatically gets created on the basis of project name and it will be unique for every type of issue which will create. So now as I've told you that we created the epic but it is not visible yet. So the reason is we have not enabled the epic panel. So we will enable it and now it will be visible. See, this is visible here. That is verify Gmail functionalities. Now the epic got created. That means our book name is decided. Now just go to this board section. I've just clicked on this board. This board is called as a sprint. So whenever you create a sprint and start the sprint from backlog, here all the tasks, or we would say all the issues which you have created from the backlog section will be displayed. It's not yet displayed. The reason is we have not created and started the sprint. We just created one epic and that much is done. So we'll again go to the backlog. So I have clicked on it. Alright. So now this verify Gmail functionality epic needs to have some user stories. Okay, and those user stories are nothing but the test scenarios. So we have to create some sort of test scenarios here on the basis of this sheet. Okay, so you can see here I have given the test scenario as verify login functionalities. So I'll go back and we'll create the user story. So click on create. Now this time instead of selecting the epic, we'll select the stories. Now the story option will have again multiple things to be allotted. That means the name and the rest of the assignee. Okay, so here is the summary which is mandatory. So we'll take the summary from that Excel sheet. We'll go back, copy this and paste it here. So this have got pasted and now we can continue to move ahead for the rest of the fields available. So here is the assignee. I can assign it to me since I'm the only one working with it. Now here one more different option is available. That is nothing but the sprint. So you can see that sprint is available. If you want to select the sprint option, you can select it. So I'll just click on this drop down. You can see that the sprint have got automatically created. We can select it. In case if you forget to specify this sprint at this time of creation, you can add it later on as well. I'll show you both the ways. Right now we have selected it. Okay, we don't need to bother about the story points at this moment. So story points will basically give you the estimation of severity of issue, but will not provide it. We'll just skip it now and we'll click on create. Since the rest of the options are already by default selected, so we'll click here. So it is showing that the issue have got created. That is nothing but user story, and it is again having a unique ID, that is GPD-2. Now it was already there in the sprint. You can see that GPD sprint 1 is the name of my sprint, and the issue, that is nothing but user story, is already present inside of it. But what if, as I've told it to you, that what if in case someone forgets to add the issue, that is user story, during the creation inside a sprint. So we'll create one more user story. So click on create and here is the story option. Okay, we'll keep it as it is. And now this time we'll give a different user story verifying compose mail functionality. Alright, so now we can select the rest of the options. Here is the assignee. I'll select it. But this time, instead of selecting the sprint, I'll keep it as it is. I'll not select it and we'll click on create. Now you can see the prompt is coming that the sprint got created, which is having the unique ID as GPD-3. This is our third issue. But you can note that it is added in the backlog. It is not present inside the sprint. So you can simply do what? You can simply drag it and drop it inside the sprint. And this is how you can add the issue inside the sprint easily. Now the next task is, see, we have created our book. We'll again come to the example. We created our book. We created the chapters also. But are these chapters belonging to the book? So they are not directly going to belong to it. So what we'll do is we'll try to add it inside the book. So we'll select it, click on add epic, select the epic that is verify Gmail functionality, and that's it. It automatically gets added. Okay, now we can see that the epic got added. So we'll just click on this close. Okay, so we can close it now since the verify login functionality is added inside the verify Gmail functionality book. You can see here from the main screen as well. Similarly, you have to do it for the second option as well, that is verifying compose mail functionalities. So what you'll do is you will click on it and you can see that add epic option is available. Click it, select the epic, and that's it. So here you can note that the story which we have created have got added inside the epics. Okay, so our task is done. So till now what we did is we created an epic, we created the user stories, and we added those user stories inside our epic. But the thing is, they are not visible on the board. The reason is we have not started the sprint yet. Okay, so we'll start the sprint. So this is the button available. You just click on this button and it will have some options. So we'll keep it default and click on start. So you can see a prompt is coming that the sprint got started. And as soon as it gets started, you will be able to see all the issues in the board. Okay, so they are going to be listed in the to-do list. Why is it so? Because any person have not yet worked on these issues here. So they are to do. Now the next thing is, what if some issue may get completed? So what you can do is you can just drag those issues from the to-do list and you can put it inside the in progress, or you can put it inside the done section. But that totally depends on the person who is performing the testing. Now next we'll see how we can create the bugs. We just created the user stories till now, but we have to see that how we can create the bugs as well. So to create the bugs, we have to click on create button, and instead of selecting the story, this time we'll select the issue type as bug. Again, the same option is coming. We have to write the summary. So we can write it as, suppose if we are assuming that the Gmail functionality is not working even if we are providing the correct username and password. Okay, so that can be one bug. See, it's just an assumption we are predicting here. In the real-time scenario, there can be multiple kinds of bugs which gets generated. But for now, just for an example, we created it. So click on create. So now you can see that the next issue has also got created successfully, which is nothing but a bug. Since it was not added in the sprint, so I'll just drag it and drop it here. Fine, so we have the 3 issues with us. So now what we'll do is we'll add this bug inside the epic, that is we have created verify Gmail functionalities. So click on it and follow the same procedure. Click here, select the epic, and it will get added inside. Now see that the bug has also got added. Now when we'll click on this board, you'll be able to see that not only 2 user stories, but it is showing 3. That is nothing but bug also. So here you can see that every issue is listed in the to-do list. Now what if any person who is already done by solving the issue? So what we can do is we can just drag and drop that issue in any of the box. So for example, if compose mail functionality verification is done by the tester, so he can pick it and drop it inside the done section. So whenever any other tester or the collaborator will come, if he'll see the dashboard, he'll be able to identify it easily that yes, this functionality is done. Similarly, we can put the bug inside the in progress section. It means it is still in progress to be solved. So that's how multiple issues can be pushed inside the different sections. It may be in to-do list, it may be in the second section that is in progress, or it may be in the done section. So that totally depends on the tester. Now what if we want to complete the sprint? So there is a button here. So you can click on that button, and when you will click on the complete sprint, you'll be able to see the report which gets generated on the basis of the sprint. If you don't want to complete it, since one of the issue is still pending in the to-do list, so we can skip it and click on cancel. Now till this section, we have added everything inside the sprint as well. Now the next task is we have to create the test cases. So note here in the document, this is a test case. There is some description. Along with that, there are some test case steps written. But the problem with Jira tool is that Jira tool is not capable enough to create the test cases without any need of external application. So for this, what we have to do, we have to take the help of an external application. So for that, we'll click on apps. And here in this section, we'll click on this so that we'll be able to see that which options are available. Here we have to select the Zephyr. Now Zephyr is a tool which allows us to create the test cases, test steps, test execution cycle, and we have to execute it sequence wise. Okay, so here you can search for Zephyr, and when we'll search it, you'll get to see two options available. We'll select the first option, that is Zephyr scale. Okay, so we'll select it, and then we'll click on try it free. Since it has a paid version, so we are not going to use that. We are just looking for the trial purpose, and we'll add it inside the project. Okay, so whenever it gets added, you will be notified. Okay, so you can see here the success message has come. That means the Zephyr tool has successfully got added inside the project. Now we'll use this tool to make the test cases and test steps. So we'll just go back, and here in this screen you can see the extension got added automatically, that is Zephyr scale. So now you can see that Zephyr is not yet added to the project. The reason is we have to enable it first. We have to go to the project settings, then only it will get added. Okay, so we'll follow those steps. Click here. Okay, so you can see that we have to enable it since the Zephyr application is disabled. So we just have to click on, and the rest of the settings are to be done. So just carefully observe what settings are needed to be done. The issue types have already been enabled, so there's no problem. Now we have to enable the permission, system permissions. So here we have to again select the on. So I'll click on it. And now we need to give the permission. For that, you can see the multiple options are available. We have to add users. So for this, you have to select the text box which was getting highlighted. So we'll click here and start typing the name of person who is associated with the project. Okay, so I am the only one who is associated with that project. So I can select myself. Alright, so we added all the necessary users over here. And then it comes to role. Okay, so when you will click on it, you'll be able to see different types of roles. So from this, I'll select the administrator. And for every option, we have to select the administrator here. Okay, so it's almost done. We just have to add the role for the last, that is configuration. All right. So we did all the settings. We just have to click on the save now. Okay, the rest of the things were not necessary. So we can click on save button so that all the settings will be saved successfully. And after that, you can again go to the Zephyr scale to check whether all the reflections have been done. Alright, so you can note here that it is giving us the option to create the test cases. So in order to create the test case, firstly we'll check that what test cases are available. So this is one test case available. We'll just go to this and here we'll give the name to the test case. That is verify username and password. Okay, so this is the name of my test case. This was mandatory. The rest of the things are optional. Still, we can check in the document. We have the precondition. We can provide the precondition also. We have the description as well. So we can put the description also. Okay, so this is our description available. Okay, I have just copied it. All right, it is not allowing us to do so. Fine, we'll just type the description here. Fine, so the description available is this one. We'll just manually type it quickly. So we are testing the login functionality of valid username and password. Okay, so I gave the objective, or we would call it as a description for this context. And now coming to the next parameter, that is nothing but precondition. So we gave the precondition as need a valid Gmail account. Okay, so we'll give that need a valid Gmail account. Okay, so that's done. The only remaining step is to write the test case steps here. Here the details are given. We can put the status, but we are not going to currently put the status. We can select the owner as well. We'll just keep it as it is for this moment and we'll click on save. So you can note that the test case got created successfully. Okay, I've just clicked here and you will get redirected to the same page again. Okay, there's no need to do so. We just have to go back in the test scripts where it will allow us to write the test case steps. Okay, so we wrote the test case, but what about the test steps which have been written? Fine, so we have to open the Gmail account and the rest of the procedures. So here, step-by-step test cases can be written. So the first step is already noted, step 1. You can put the name of that step, that is open www.gmail.com. That means the site to create the Gmail account, or we would say to access the Gmail account. And then it is having a second parameter as test data. Right now in this document, I haven't substituted the test data. So we'll keep it as it is. Coming to the next parameter, so you can see the third parameter is expected result. Okay, so what is the expected result? Expected result is Gmail account is open, or we would say Gmail is open. So this is my first step. What if we want to add more steps? So you can see a pop-up is coming. You can just click on add step. provide the details of the remaining steps here. Type the Gmail ID. Or we would call it as email ID. And here is the expected result. See, it's not having the exact expected result. We can skip it. See, it's just up to you that what kind of test case steps you want to return. So it's totally up to you that what kind of test case steps you want to write. You can modify it as per your requirement. So I can give the expected result here as get redirected to the password field, because we already know that if we provide the correct mail ID, we'll get redirected to the password field. Okay, so I gave the expected result like this. Now creating this third step, click on next. Okay, but we have already created it since we have mentioned it as an expected result over here in the previous step only. So that is fine. The third step here, we can create it as, okay, we'll just click here and we can create it as enter correct password. Okay, because when we get redirected to the password field, since we are checking it for the valid username and password, so we have to put the correct password. So if the correct password is given, the expected result would be login successful. And we can also write that Gmail inbox is open. Okay, so this is my test script. I'll just save it. And you can see that the data have got updated. We can go to the execution, but we haven't done any executions yet. We'll go to the details. And again, we'll click on save to make it confirm that everything is successfully saved in the Zephyr scale. Alright, so now we can go back since the details regarding the test cases and test scripts are already done. So if we go back, you can note here that the test case got added. Okay, we don't want to perform any action. Add the criteria, multiple options are available. But at this moment, we don't want to do anything yet. So if we go to the plans, you can see that nothing is present here. If we go to the cycles, we haven't created the test cycles yet. So it is also blank. Coming to the reports, that is the final report generated on the basis of execution and everything. So that is also kept as blank till now. So what's the next task to do? Here we'll click on that test case and here we'll go to the traceability. So traceability is nothing but all the stories which you have created. Okay, so here you can search for that. So what you have to do is you just have to type, suppose if I want to add login, so you have to type login, and when you will search it, you'll be able to find that user story available. I'll select it and add it. Okay, so this is nothing but the coverage which have got added in the traceability. Okay, so whichever type of story you will have, you might have created, you have to add it inside the traceability. Now you can see the status. As you can see here on this page, the status is stored as draft. But what if this test case is passed and you want to change the status? So you have to go there. Instead of this draft, you have to select it as approved. Save it. And that's it. So when you will observe the test case now, it will have the approved status. It means the test case is passed. So we'll go back. Check here, scroll it here, and there is a green button available, approved. It means the test case is passed. You can give the deprecated version. Okay, so deprecated can also be provided if the test cases fail. But since we are considering it as a past condition, so that's why we have kept it as approved. Okay, so hope you have got the idea regarding how to perform all the tasks, that is to create the issues. That first issue which we have created is epic. Second issue which we have created is user stories. Then we saw how we need to create the bugs, how to start the sprint and show all these things inside the dashboard. Then we saw that there is no any direct way possible to create the test cases. So for that we took the help of Zephyr software. We added it and accordingly we create the test cases and test case steps. Hope you have got some basic idea regarding the Jira tool. Thank you so much for watching the video. Please do subscribe to the channel and stay tuned for further videos as well. Thank you.